And we are live in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Becoming Alpha podcast. I'm your host, Dan. Behind the camera, as always, is Brandon. And we are joined here by the owners of Central Standard Distillery, Evan and Pat. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you. We're really excited to have you guys on. This is our first distillery, and I think you guys have a lot of knowledge when it comes into this industry.
Well, we should probably start with
let's start with the cheers.
Cheers, right?
Cheers, Pat, Evan.
We won't leave you hanging, Brandon. Here.
All right. All right. I'll come around.
There you go.
Thanks.
Let's have some fun, guys.
All right, brother. So, why don't you guys give me a little background? When did you start it, and why?
Yeah, sure. I'll take that one. So we started in 2014. We actually got our DSP, which is like our license to be able to distill in April of 2014. Mm-hmm. Pat and I when did we meet? 2010-ish.
Yeah.
So we were friends for about 4 years, and we would get together once every 2 months, once every quarter. Our previous jobs, we used to travel around and we would buy different local bourbon or local rye whiskeys. We'd get together and taste them. And while we were tasting them, we always talked about, how can we be a part of the solution here in Milwaukee? How can we create something? How can we start a business that can give back to the community? Mm-hmm. And man, we had some really bad ideas.
I think they were good.
No,
you didn't want to execute.
No. Really,
What were some of the bad ideas?
Well, I thought they were all bad ideas. Thank God I didn't do any of them. But we were going to do a men's grooming company, which clearly I'm great at anyways. So.
Groom is a great company. Have you heard of them?
Groom's a great company. Our company for like male loofahs probably. Oh. So anyways, we would get together and talk about things, talk about dreams and what we wanted to do. And one night we had significantly overserved ourselves on some craft bourbon, and
That's how it always starts.
you know what? Like, we love this. Like, this is what we really enjoy. It's what we're passionate about. Mm-hmm. Why don't we do it? Why don't we start a distillery? And kind of, there's a lot of companies that started. It was back of the napkin. Mm-hmm. We picked the name that night. We picked the neighborhood that we wanted to launch in. So we got pretty far down the road.
And you started out with Central Standard?
Yep.
Wow.
Central Standard Craft Distillery. So the whole meaning behind it for us was, we're from the Midwest. Mm-hmm. We feel like even our logo, Walker, it's a guy just getting shit done.
Yeah.
We make things here. This is where manufacturing happens, and we power the world with it. So for us, the Central Standard Time Zone really is kind of like a badge of honor for us.
I see. Very cool. So where'd you guys meet?
So we met at the University Club here in Milwaukee. So we
very
both,
cool. You were members?
Yeah, we were both members. Had joined. We were the younger members there, so we naturally kind of
The youngest.
The youngest.
paired up a little bit, kind of like first day of school, and hit it off pretty quickly. So it was fast friends from there.
So the initial branding, did it change at all? Was this always the logo?
No.
Well, that was always the logo since we launched, but we had a bunch of iterations
here.
before that.
Yeah. Some of them were real bad.
The idea was hatched actually in 2012, so it was exactly 2 years to the week from idea to open. Starting a distillery is a very bureaucratic process. You got a lot of paperwork that just goes and sits on a desk until somebody approves it.
Yeah.
So it just took a while, but in those 2 years, we had a lot of time for logo ideation, and it changed a lot. I mean, we had, I think some of the first iterations were like almost like maps of Milwaukee. What was some of the other stuff? There was
just letters,
letters.
CNS, CS, different things like that, different color schemes. So we've been very happy with how this turned out, and it's been really interesting to see how people recognize the brand in the company, right? And I think the logo's been one that's been helpful for us to get recognized that way.
Yeah. So for those 2 years, did you guys hold the job?
2 years plus.
2 years plus.
So even after we opened, we both had our full-time positions.
What'd you guys do?
So I was I like to call myself a recovering banker. So I was in finance. I worked in wealth management, and it was a great job. And part of the reason too that I think has been helpful for us as we've grown is a lot of people that I worked with that were clients of mine were entrepreneurs themselves, or owned businesses, or were executives, so they became almost mentors and are still mentors today. So that was really great. But even so, it took into year 3 of us being operational when we actually bought this building is when I started to come full time. So that was in 2017, and then I was able to come full time while we were managing the construction process and the growth of that. And then Evan.
Yeah, so I wasn't
Eventually?
I wasn't full time until 2018. I published a magazine called Draft.
Okay.
It was a lifestyle magazine for craft beer, like a Wine Spectator for craft beer. Started that in 2016 or 2006. I'm sorry, and came full time here in 2018. I actually saw on our calendar it's my 2-year work anniversary here pretty soon.
Yeah, it's coming up.
I know.
And now we spend about 12 hours a day, it feels like. We spend more time with each other than we spend with our families.
It's the same with us.
Pat, do you mind bringing the mic a little bit closer to you?
Yeah, sure.
There you go. Thank you.
That better?
Yeah, you can raise it up if you want to. It's up. Yep, perfect.
I know how to operate.
Just give it some finesse.
Yeah, you just loosen that a little. That's, you had it right. Yep.
Yeah, just give it some
That
finesse.
right there.
Pull it up.
Yeah.
Don't edit this out, please.
All right, there you go. That better? Perfect. Awesome. Okay.
No, that's exactly where we're at. Is we spend a lot of time together, and we started this. I told you. Well, I started it 3 years ago, and then it formed to what it is today. What, 5 months ago? 6 months ago is when we started this, where it's full service. We do web design, social media management, and it's all focused around custom content.
Let's get. Honestly, congratulations.
Yeah, that's really
we've been
Thank
there.
you.
That's real awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, it definitely did.
you guys must definitely complement each other in some good ways then, right? Personality-wise, like, who's good at what?
You take
Finance?
Go ahead.
Banking?
He's finance.
Yeah, no, I think what is really great for each of us, and we talk about it quite often, is we're like-minded in a lot of ways of where we want to go. But there's different points of view that we were able to play off of each other. So if there's something that he feels strongly about, and I know that that's something he feels strongly about, like that's something, hey, we're going to do it this way, vice versa. Certainly, I'm stronger on, I would say, the finance side of things. Evan's a really strong personality in sales and managing the growth that way with customer relationships. So I think and there's a lot of overlap of what we do there too. Technology, though, definitely my strong suit. This guy is an analog guy living in a digital world for sure.
Very, very good statement. Yes.
Why is that?
It just doesn't make any sense. I don't
Sure.
know. I don't know why headphones. Like I can see where it plugs in.
Yeah.
There's like no. I can see it visually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So starting out, what was funding like? How did you get funding? Did you have to take a loan out?
Yeah, so
What was that like?
So funding was interesting because Evan actually tried to sell dates online with himself, and that didn't go very well.
Wait,
So-
what?
No, we
wouldn't have gone well.
we had some money ourselves and put it into the business, but then just bootstrapped it as best as possible. So some friends and family help out there. It's really difficult. It might be a little bit easier now that more distilleries are out there, but I mean, trying to get financing for a bunch of equipment in a business that not like some people know, but definitely not in the Wisconsin area. How do you go to a bank and say, hey, we have no assets, no track record, can you give us some money?
We have no idea how to distill. I mean, they're blowing some pretty big bullet holes through our business plan.
Yeah, so that was that's kind of how that went. But we got up and running. I think
So did you get a loan?
we did not.
No.
Oh, it was okay.
Yeah. So not to start.
It's all on you.
And then once we grew the business, we were able to stand on our own 2 feet and work through that. So as we've grown, we've been able to use traditional financing, which has been nice.
Well, I think that it's a good time to point out. I mean, our business when we started was much different than it is now. So when we dreamt this up, we wanted to have a small distillery and a tasting room, and that was what our Walker's Point location was, and it was amazing. We loved it down there. The space was really cool.
Was that your first location?
That was, yeah.
Okay.
That was our first location, and it was really sad. I mean, we said goodbye to it at the end of February, and
Wow.
we've got the new project we can talk about later. But
Yeah.
it was tough, right? I mean, but the business was everything under the roof was like 2,000 square feet. That was production. That was tasting room. That was events. That was storage. That was everything. Coolers. And so our business, when it started, looks much different than it does today.
So you grew out of it. Is that?
did,
And you didn't want to grow out of it?
I wouldn't say that we didn't want to grow out of it. I think we were surprised at the growth of it.
Sure.
That we were able to really get that momentum of the community.
Yeah.
And that was great for us. So I think we were surprised by that, and then really had to follow where we wanted to go and kind of reinvent ourselves of what we expected or wanted to be.
What do you think the driving aspect of getting the community behind you was when you started?
Well, I think Milwaukee and Wisconsin in general really like to support businesses that are out there and doing things.
They always do.
We're very
Yeah.
community minded. Evan and I, our ethos is give people an opportunity and give back. Just a slight segue. Almost everybody in our business, except for I think one person, had zero background or very minimal background in what they were hired to do, because we saw something in them and we wanted to give them an opportunity. So I think all that's to say is there was support there because of that, and those people believed in it. So everybody kind of started to see that, and people like experiences too, right? I think bars are different now than they ever were, and as we became a distillery amongst all these bars and breweries, it was a different experience to try out too. So I think that all kind of just melded together as part of it.
This is very good, by the way.
Thank you very much.
So how many of these do you have? How many different products? Yeah. What have you grown to?
I think we have 13 now.
13 different SKUs.
Yeah, and we have the majority of our products. They start from vodka and go all the way to bourbon and everything in between. And we've grown along the way. We started our first year. If you don't know about distilling, those barrels that sit behind you, that's where a bourbon gets its brown. Everything comes off the still clear. So a vodka, a gin, a bourbon, a whiskey, a brand, like they all come off clear because it's a clear distillate. And then inside of these barrels, it's charred, and the char inside the barrels is where you start to get the brown over time as it sits. So we started with a vodka, a gin, and an oak whiskey, which is really it's a white whiskey that had been aged in a barrel for a short period of time. So our main selling products are the Door County Cherry Vodka, the Cab Bourbon, and our North Brandy.
So the Door County is kind of interesting. Do you partner with a company in Door County, or how does that work?
Yes, we get the cherry juice from a company up in Door County, and then we work with a local beekeeper to back sweeten a little bit. The Door County cherries are a little bit tart,
Yeah,
so we back sweeten with a little bit of local honey as well.
that's interesting.
Yeah,
And
delicious. I mean,
how'd you come up with that idea?
we can tell the story, right?
Sure, yeah.
Let's tell the story.
Please.
So we were really we were trying to work with a local baseball team here and get in the park, and there was a lot of interest in our products, but there was a sponsor that kind of precluded us from working with them. However, in the contract because there's local ties and there's local ingredients, there was the ability for us to work with them on a product. And it's one of those things as you grow, you kind of have to just fake it till you make it.
So it was like a
Anything
loophole?
like that? We're like, of course we have something like that. We didn't bring it. We'll bring it back next week. So you get in the car. If he got in his car, went to Door County and got cherries. I went to Wausau and got ginseng, and Toma and got cranberries. So we came up with something, and it ended up being absolutely amazing. And it sells really well. It mixes well.
Looks
with
great, too.
Literally everything.
Yeah.
It tastes like summer.
Yeah. So what kind of partnerships similar to this do you have? How did you create this partnership with this cherry company?
I think pretty all of our products have a local story like that, honestly.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the fun part of what we get to do. I mean, like our rye whiskey, all of our rye grain is grown out in Delsman by Oconomowoc. That gets taken up to Grafton and gets milled for us into like a powder. Gets delivered. So like we try to buy. I think our economic imprint is about 95% local product here within 120 miles of Milwaukee.
Awesome.
So we're really proud of that. We get to meet a lot of cool people.
Yeah. Do you promote that at all?
Yeah,
I feel like you should.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we like to let people know about it.
Yeah.
I think what we try and be is, as a company, is just try and do the right thing. And I don't know that we sometimes tout it enough. I don't think that's really who we are. We kind of want the products to speak for themselves and our company to speak for itself. And so sometimes I don't think we do enough of that.
Yeah.
We appreciate the opportunity to be able to work with all these people. You know, there's some some states that might not have the different grains that we have, and they can't work with the locally sourced group like we can. So that's been really awesome for us to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, an example that we've been working on here the last like 3 months. You know, the Lowlands Group. I mean, they just opened up Cafe Buckataben, and it's amazing. And they wanted to do a brandy with us. So Buckataben's a lake up north by Eagle River. So we went up and got cranberries from Eagle River and spruce and birch. And so we use that as kind of like our flavor profile, and
It's amazing.
infused into our brandy, and that's what you get when you go to any of the Lowland Group restaurants now, and you get an old fashioned.
Excellent. So how'd you learn how to do this? You said you started not knowing, right?
It's well, think about this. So when we started the distillery, Pat and I had never distilled anything in our life. We drank a lot of things that were distilled.
Sure.
We were pretty good at that. But when you look,
We're good at that too.
if you think about it though, like if you start a craft brewery, right? Like you can go to Northern Brewer in West Allis and buy a kit, and then go to your basement and like oh shit, I'm pretty good at this. I should start a brewery.
Yep.
It's illegal for you to home distill. So you cannot, like, you just have to have, like, I don't know if it's blind faith or like an adversity to risk. Like, you know, it's just, it's a weird market to get into because there's no legal way to practice. So we trusted in ourselves and did the research, and we're not ashamed to say, like, our first batches weren't great. I mean, our stuff has changed so much over the years.
Was it YouTube University?
I mean, there's a little message boards.
Sure.
You know, we were fortunate enough, and, you know, I think that Pat and I are both good at asking for help. So building relationships with other people in the industry that can help you out, point you in the right direction. And, you know, we've had some good people along the way.
So you had mentors to help you.
For sure.
Was there any that was in the liquor industry, distilled industry?
Yeah, so I think we had some of that. We had some brewing experience as well of different people that could help us out, and we hired a distiller in addition to Evan and I, and we just kind of took off from there, and now we have a full-time distiller.
Okay.
So, you know, Evan and I are on the floor and doing different things, but we have someone that is their job, right? And they're great at it.
Was that your first hire, a distiller?
Well, yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Sure. So how'd you scale from there? You got your distiller, and then what was the process like? What'd you need next?
We needed to figure out how the hell to sell this stuff. So
sales.
We had a tasting room, right? So the tasting room for a small business, especially in the craft beverage space, is like so critically important because it allows you to have revenue coming in the door while you're growing your business. And it also is like, you know, we can't afford billboards all across the state. We can't afford, you know, magazine or, you know, ads. So our marketing truly is getting people through the front door, getting their spirits down their throat, and telling our story and making the appeal, and telling them, like, you know, here's who we are, and then getting that support. So for us, it was an interesting thing when we started.
And I think growing and scaling that way was once, you know, we went out and we felt we had enough that we could start to sell too, right? Because you have to be able to put enough in bottles and get it through the still so that you can get it out to the market too. And to Evan's point, I think just critically important to utilize the tasting room as your ability to start telling the story.
That was our marketing.
Yeah, because as soon as it leaves your place, you don't control the message as much, right? And
No.
people might not know.
Yeah, it's just the bottle.
Yeah, so someone has to be able to do the pull-through for you.
Yeah.
So I think that's, as we scaled, then we signed with a distributor, and a distributor then sells it to the retailer, because we can't self-distribute. So we have,
Why not?
it's the law.
Great question.
It's the law.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Why?
How long you got? No, I mean
We're here.
So we are. It's called the 3-tiered system, and it's been in place for a long time. Basically, it says that when you're a supplier, you have to sell to a distributor, and the distributor has to sell to the end retailer, and then the retailer or bar and restaurant sells it to the consumer. So there's a chain that you have to work through, right? So there's been some movement on that a little bit. You know, I mean, beer can self-distribute up to a certain point. It's actually a pretty big number that they can self-distribute up to. But it's a very highly regulated industry, and like we're not sitting here complaining about that. I mean, that's something that we do going in, and we're very fortunate. We've got super good distribution partners, where we've had to learn a lot on how to be good suppliers for the distributors. But we've come a really long way. But the laws in liquor are they're very, very weird, and they're in desperate need of modernization. I mean, 100%. I mean, there's an easy example is a winery has to close at 9. We can stay open all night. Why? I mean, that makes no sense.
Like all night?
All night. But legally, with our license, we're allowed to. I mean, we never would.
Yeah.
I mean, but legally we can. Like, that makes no sense. So it looks like, there's someone at some point that didn't want competition from a winery for some reason.
Ain't that nuts?
It's crazy. So, but it's like decades and decades of carve-outs like that.
I think one of the interesting things for us of being naive and starting this business was, well, I mean, we're going to sign as a distributor in more craft beverage in Milwaukee, and everybody's going to want to sell it, so they buy us, right? It's going to be super easy. Yeah, that's not good. So, there's a lot of hard work, and again, being naive is the distributor has umpteen different suppliers in their portfolio, and they are selling all of them. So you have to work your way through that and figure out how do you get share of voice, how do you get yourself up the chain, and what do you have to do to continue to support that. So I think that's one of our biggest things that we've learned, and we're continually learning, because there's always new stuff that we don't know, or another hurdle that we have to clear.
Yeah.
But I think that was kind of one of our biggest things of being naive in was, hey, we have a product, we're from Milwaukee, everybody should want us, right? Why would you put us in there?
Does the distributor do sales for you? Or you just tell them where it goes? You have to do your own sales?
They have to do all the sales. So our customer, it's bizarre. It's the world that we live in. So we make the alcohol, we're the supplier.
Yeah.
Our end customer is the distributor. The distributor then...
It ends there.
Yeah, well, I mean, it does. It should be,
right? So that's the last time we received money.
Yeah.
So then, but we have to spend money on our own sales team, which then when they get a sale, they have to call it into the distributor and actually place the sale. And again, I feel weird because it sounds like I'm complaining about our distributor.
No, not at all.
It works.
Yeah.
We have to incentivize the distributor and the sales team to get that share of voice.
Yeah.
We've got to spend money marketing to restaurants and bars so they know to buy us, know our story.
Yeah.
We got to market to the end consumer. So again, it's all the way down the line. But our end customer is the distributor.
So how does it work when it comes to, if the distributor is selling your product, they're probably selling other businesses' product as well. How does that work from a competition perspective, that they sell your product over selling somebody else's product?
Yeah, I mean, what Pat said earlier is we really are, we're laser focused on trying to build value within that distributor tier, right? So if we sit in the corner and just whine and complain all the time and like provide no value, you get, you're going to stay there in the corner. But if you figure out how can we start moving product, what can we do to co-invest with them, how can we incentivize their sales team to go and like run through walls, then the plan starts to work, right? So, but it's an interesting thing, and quite Pat mentioned earlier, we're always learning on this, but it took a while for us to get there.
Can you buy your own distribution company
I
and then
was thinking
distribute
the exact
yourself.
same
You
thing.
can't. So,
What?
But again, going back to the laws, my brother moved back from Denver, wanted to start a restaurant, he was raising money. I couldn't invest in his restaurant because he would have a liquor license, and then tied house law kicks in where, because I own a distillery, then I'm going to force my brother to sell my product, and it's an unfair advantage. Well, he's going to sell my product as my brother, whether I give him money or not.
Yeah.
I would hope.
Yeah.
Tommy, if you're listening, definitely sell Central Standard. But, things like that where you cannot touch any other tier in the 3-tiered system.
That's almost insane.
So
I
we live in.
mean, yeah. So it must be super important to find the right distributor.
It is. Yeah, absolutely.
How many distributors do you use?
So we're statewide with Badger and with Frank over in the Madison area.
So the way that it works is based on territory. So you can't have overlapping distributors that if you sign
Wow.
with one, you can't sign with another to say like, I want you to only focus on this area. And you can only, now there are some nuances to that, but the main point is you can only sign with one that covers that territory. So if you here in the area that we're with Badger Liquor and Capital Houston and Breakthrough Beverage are other distributors. We couldn't sign with all three of them and have them all competing to sell our product.
Okay.
So does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you sign with one to
Yeah.
go.
Per region or per area.
Yep.
You can define it by zip code if you want.
Okay.
But it's a lot more work
Yeah.
for us at that point, right?
So in Wisconsin we have 2, and they're very complementary of each other. They work very well together, and they've been really good to us.
So what's your scale? Are you how far outside of Wisconsin are you?
Yeah, so we're mainly focused on Wisconsin. We're definitely going to be growing outside of the state. We have some distribution in Illinois over the last 12 to 18 months. We've been there, not really with a focus there. We've just been doing some distribution to try and grow the brand.
Sure.
Mainly it's because we were building capacity here as this building was like getting to capacity and we were able to have enough. Because our fear was always if we don't have enough and then the pull through starts happening and then you don't have product available, then you stub your toe.
Yeah.
Yourself.
So it's like growing too fast. You don't want to grow too fast.
So now we feel we're in that position where we're really pushing forward and we have some really good things I think coming in third and fourth quarter of 2020 to get outside the state of Wisconsin in a larger format.
There's really 2 approaches to distribution in our industry. There's the machine gun approach. Where you want to grow and get as much geography as you possibly can, be available as far and as wide as you can, and that's
And who does that? The machine gun.
a lot of distilleries do that.
Do they fail because of that? This seems like a risk, very high risk.
There are other distilleries even here in Wisconsin that pulled back from that model.
Yeah.
So for us, when we started, our stated goal was we're Central Standard. We really want to own our backyard and go as deep as we possibly can in our state, and then we'll start looking at contiguous states.
Okay.
But, I don't see us going from Wisconsin and be like, we should open up a new state. We should open up Oregon. That's not something that would make sense for us.
Yeah.
We'd add a contiguous state and then, again, do the same thing we did in Wisconsin. Work our butts off to try to go deep there and move out from there.
So do you have what do you call it? The drinking room, the tasting room, drinking room.
Yeah, write that down.
You have no idea how many conversations we had about naming that. The drinking room.
The drinking room. Hell yeah.
There's a bar where I grew up, and it was called Mabel Murphy's, a place for drinking.
Yes.
Like that. So we do not have a tasting room right now.
Not here at this location.
Yeah, no. This is just our production facility. This is where everything's made, and
And this is the only place you own currently? Or you just...
So
you have a new
we
place.
Invested downtown on Clybourne Street as well.
Sure.
Right. It's such an exciting project for us. So it's going to be the Central Standard Downtown Distillery experience.
Awesome.
It's got a
Awesome.
corner from the public market on the other side of the
Oh my
freeway.
God.
So it's a 3-story Cream City brick building.
Yeah.
And
Beautiful.
to kind of paint you a picture, the first floor is going to be tasting room. There'll be food available, retail. In the basement, there'll be distillery tours. We'll have an operating still that's actually up there. It's a 100-gallon pot still. So we'll do all of our R&D and all of our small batch stuff over there. On the second floor, there will be private event space. Third floor, we don't really know what we're going to have. the plans are for that. Probably lease it out.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a rooftop patio, which will be absolutely beautiful.
So you got the whole building?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congrats.
So for us, I mean, if
So
you
if you guys need a studio,
yeah.
Hey,
We got about
We-
4,000 square feet for you guys.
we can do a trade for sure. We'll help you out with your video marketing.
Yeah.
We just gave it
Bro.
for your tasting room. So
Bro,
that's worth its weight in gold.
yeah. No, that's excellent. So,
Yeah, we're super excited about that. I think, is part of our growth and what we were seeing at Second Street, which Walker's Point was amazing. It's always
Yeah.
going to be, where we started. But our biggest issue as part of the growth and scaling was people do want an experience, right? And we were coming to this breaking point for us is our tasting room is only 75 people max.
at the Walker's Point,
Like max.
max,
You're not
max.
seated. You're not even sitting.
Right, and we didn't have a separated space for private events versus the public. So that's hard for us to turn away patrons that are just coming maybe for their first time or for returning, and then also for revenue or for people that want to have a private event, so a rehearsal dinner or any of those types of things, right? So we had begun looking a couple of years ago really at the opportunity to expand, and we found this great building, and that's what we really wanted to do, is create the opportunity for people to come whenever they want, regardless of a private event or coming to the public. I think one of the most interesting data points that we ever started tracking was that over 50% of our business was coming from Illinois, right? There's just people that will come
For
to
the
Milwaukee.
tasting room.
Yeah.
How'd you know that?
Just polling when people are there. When
Sure.
people were doing tours, we'd have
Okay.
a card for them to fill out.
So we just started to get that to understand that there's a lot of tourism here in addition to the people that are just coming, right?
Yeah.
So I think that was an interesting point for us. But all of these people that are always constantly having meetings, or you're getting married, or you're having a party, you want to do it in a unique space. So there was the opportunity for us to expand our footprint and try and give a unique experience. And also a part of what Evan and I have tried to do is be a part of the community, be a part of Milwaukee. We came to the Near West Side and bought this building because we fell in love with the neighborhood. And we had the opportunity to go to different parts of the city, outside the city, where it just wouldn't have been our story, right?
Yeah.
This building is not the prettiest building by any means,
No.
but it fits who
Does
we
the
are.
job.
And I think we like that. We like being part of a community and a neighborhood that is trying to grow and do it the right way. And that's kind of been our ethos. And this building that we found and we fell in love with it's a 150-year-old building.
Yeah.
It's not a new high-rise. It's not something that you're just trying to wedge in there. And I think that's part of who we are and what we're trying to do is grow it within the confines of something that's unique.
We're scrappy like our buildings.
That's right.
So, what about weddings? Do you have any ideas with weddings with the new space?
Yeah, we'll definitely have weddings there. Second floor will be weddings.
Yeah.
Or private events.
how does your vision from when you started align with where you're headed right now? Did you have the vision of this building that you're buying right now?
I think it's changed a lot. I mean, and it's, being an entrepreneur is all about understanding that you need to put a plan in place, but understanding that the plan is going to change and evolve. And part of that is through decisions that you make, and part of that is just through natural progression of your business. And so for us, when we first started, we had full-time jobs. This for us was something that we really wanted to do as a passion project, something that we wanted to employ people. We wanted to start a small business here in Milwaukee to be a part of the solution. And as soon as we started really understanding the distribution side of things, and our product started moving faster and faster, we sat down like either this is what we are, or it's time for us to relook at who we're going to be. And we're going to need to invest in more infrastructure. We need to buy a production facility. We need to get more equipment. What's the plan? How are we going to do that? And then afterwards, what's our plan to have revenue keep up with the plan that we need for the infrastructure?
Yeah.
And that's always something that for small business it's tough. Cash flow is always tough because you're taking that money, you're not putting it in your pocket. You're actually deploying the capital to human resources that you might need, or a piece of equipment that makes you more efficient.
It's reinvesting.
Yeah, you're reinvesting everything.
We do the same thing.
So, our vision's changed quite a bit. I mean, we started with a great plan, and now we sit here looking at, we want to be a regional distillery.
So looking back at your original, do you think you should have stuck with it, or you're on the right track?
No, I think we feel like we're definitely on the right track.
Okay, so you shouldn't have stuck with it.
Yeah.
It was a good starting point
Yeah.
to propel you to here.
Yeah, I think part of being open, Evan and I always kind of, sometimes to our detriment, we always say yes, right? We're yes
Sure.
people, and we always want to try and figure it out. We always want to be able to help in what we're doing. So, sometimes that's the right decision, sometimes that's the wrong decision, but more often than not, we feel that we're going to win by saying yes. And trying to take on an opportunity where it's back to the human resources thing. We make a bet on people more than anything, right? And we've hired salespeople who weren't salespeople. We've hired packaging people who weren't packaging people. All of those types of things where you're just trying to give an opportunity because that's what we were given as an opportunity. So
Yeah.
I think that's been one of those things where we've been proud of that. I think that's of anything. I think we're really proud of several of the people that have been with us for a long time. They bought a house,
Yeah.
they're married, they're having kids. Some of those things that some of that I don't think we take a step back and reflect on it. That's really something that we're really happy about. We started and we've grown and we offer benefits. Like those things that I don't know that every small business makes the investment in. And we've tried to be able to be a good employer, but more so just have a good family around us, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what we want to be in this company, is giving people opportunity and they feel like their voices are heard, and we're doing the right things by them and investing the capital in the right areas, not, hey, Evan and Pat are trying to make a pile of money so that we're going to run off to wherever, Costa Rica or something like that. Like we're putting every penny back into this company to help grow it.
Have you ever had a problem with that mindset? Anybody that ever shook the system that was like an oops?
No, I think what guides us more than anything is we have an internal mantra here at Central Standard, and it's run towards problems. So being an entrepreneur, I was thinking, as Pat was talking, you have any entrepreneur that says that
run towards problems. We have one similar to that.
I was writing it down just after you said it.
So we have affirmations that we have. What do we have? 6 now? 7. One of them is fail out of boldness, not out of timidity, and that's a very, very similar affirmation to that. Sorry.
I agree. I like that one. But the run towards problem things really is, if you don't, the problem gets bigger, and if you deal with those things, more success comes, and you can get things back on track. But there's no entrepreneur that would sit there and say, hey, I had an idea for this company, I wrote a business plan, and then morph it 6 years down the road and be like, yeah, we executed that exactly to that. Things change. Yeah. Circumstances change. You have less money and more money at some point. Everything changes. So you're constantly navigating this turbulent water, trying to make the best decisions you can. And even right now is a good example. We had a great plan for 2020, and then the world shut down, and you have to adjust. And then again, it's just figure out a solution, build value.
So how has that affected you? The current pandemic?
It's affected us like a lot of small businesses, right? So we pivoted very quickly we looked at what was coming down the pike. And
so what was the biggest problem? Bars were closing.
Bars.
That's the biggest.
Basically, half of everywhere that we sell our products to, we're going to be closed. Yeah. So more than half. So we looked at it early on and said, okay, what can we do? We started getting a few calls from local nursing homes, assisted living facilities, about potentially turning vodka into disinfectant spray, high-proof vodka. So really. Yeah, we decided, we're going to do it. And so we pivoted very quickly. I
saw that on your website.
We pivoted very quickly, and we're really proud, but we donated all of that We worked with a little over 200 nonprofits, local police departments, the
High-risk facilities,
responders. First responders, and it was humbling. It was great, and so we did that, and then as the need changed from disinfectant spray to hand sanitizer, we pivoted again, and we kind of started a brand new business. We're still donating 25% of all of our hand sanitizer, selling 75% of us to fund the 25%, to recapture some revenue that, quite frankly, we lost, just disappeared into thin air because things closed. So, we're doing the best that we can, like all small businesses.
And how about the distribution for that? Did Badger Liquor just say, okay, we'll distribute hand sanitizer, or?
Well, we don't have to distribute through them.
Oh, that's,
it's not.
they don't count it as liquor.
Yeah, so it's denatured.
So it's a denatured alcohol, and so it's separate, right?
So did you have to find a new distributor, or
Yeah.
same, just you guys?
So Evan and I've gotten
Hand delivered?
really good at that. I think the interesting thing in all of this is that we've tried to fulfill a need that is out there that is critical for a lot of people, right? And we are proud of the opportunity. We're proud of that we were able to make that and then create an opportunity for our business to further make people feel safe through this. I think that's one thing that for Evan and I we've been proud of, and our team jumped on board, all hands on deck. Our salespeople went from being salespeople to being bottling people, right? We didn't lay anybody off during this period. We were actually just repurposing them, right? Because they can't go on the road. Who are they going to sell to? Right?
Yeah.
They can't really be out there doing that. Nobody's going to allow you into their place if they're even open. So I think that was a really cool thing for us, is like, everybody hands in the middle, we're going to do this. And they were all great about it. And nobody knew what the hell they were doing, right? But we learned that. We're really good at it now. And so I think that's been something that's been really good for us.
Yeah, it's excellent. So, definition of success from each of you guys, what would yours be?
Being in business, I think that's like, we're really proud of what we've built and where we're at. We certainly have goals that we're working towards on a daily basis, but I think that we're successful. We've got a really great team, a family that we have, a really great group around us. Pat and I, we've been, I guess, fortunate to be recognized a number of times around town for different awards, and it's like, we get to go on the stage, but like, we work our butts off like everyone else works their butts off here, and we're just very fortunate to have this team built around us. And I think success for us is waking up healthy every day, being able to do what we love, and continue on to hit our goals. Was there a point that you knew that you made it? Well, I think that I don't.
Or an event.
I think that again, it's hard to answer. I don't think we've ever made it, right? Like,
Sure.
I think if you have that mindset where you're like, oh, I finally cleared this hurdle, then you get complacent and you're not trying to push yourself. So, we fail every day, and then every day you try to get better.
Yeah. So I think success for me is that we're getting better at different things every day. I think Evan and I have had this, not epiphany, but we've been better at making sure we're doing the right things or getting the right processes in place. And if our team feels like they're able to be more efficient because of something that we did, I think that's helpful to us. But Evan and I are not, at least, I don't want to speak for you, but I don't think either of us feel like we're successful. I think that we're just continuing to navigate this and try and push this thing forward and try and do it in the right manner. I will say that Evan and I are quite competitive and in almost everything. So a good example, this is a very good example. So we're bottling a week or so ago. And I don't even have to say it or acknowledge it, and vice versa. But if we have a four-head filler. We have a bottling line as well, but we have a four-head filler.
Yeah.
And if he's filling and I'm capping, he's trying to fill the table with the bottles while I'm capping so that he can be done before me, or that the table is full and that I can't clear it. Right? That's how we operate. It's just right. It's exactly how it goes. and vice versa. I'm trying to clear the table before he can get more bottles. And that's kind of who we are, is like, let's do it.
Did the table get filled up?
Let's do it well.
Did the table get filled up?
I mean, I always cleared it. But it's a good rhythm. I think like that's kind of who we are, is like, let's keep moving forward. Sometimes to our detriment a little bit. I don't think we celebrate successes enough, right? If we have a big win of getting new accounts or some of those things, I think Evan and I are very much of, let's just keep going, let's keep getting better. It's just who we are, right? I think we are driven to keep going, because the more we grow, the more we can hire, or the more things we can reinvest in. I think that's kind of our mindset. You say that?
Yeah.
Well, it's excellent.
Ditto.
Ditto.
Dan and I are very similar in that matter, where sometimes we'll have a project and we'll see who can put it together better, and then we'll come together and obviously crap on each other's project because we want ours to be the best.
It's a yin and yang. We yank each other's balls all the time and give each other shit, but like, he's always pushing me and I'm always pushing him. So.
Yeah, I think that, for our partnership, like I said at the beginning, I think there's things where we both are passionate about and we kind of acquiesce a little bit to, but we're also able to have a conversation it's not easy to have a conversation sometimes, but we don't take it personally. Like, I'm not trying to personally attack him when we're trying to do something. We're just trying to make each other better. Like, hey, this is how I see it. And we may get irritated with each other, but 5 minutes later, it's like, okay, well, where are we going for lunch? Right? It's kind of, it's who we are. And I think hopefully that helps our business to continue to progress.
I'm sure it will.
Because we do have some pretty heated conversations sometimes and within a very short period of time. Or I think we're also pretty good at recognizing and saying, look, hey, I'm sorry. I know that was like, we kind of had a heated argument. Like, let's get past it. Let's recognize it.
Or I know you're irritated. Let's just talk about it.
Yeah.
And,
sometimes I'm better with that with him than I am with my wife. But,
So then how do you decide on what decision gets made in those scenarios where you're figuring it out as far as a partnership?
Well, I think that there's, whenever you're having a passionate conversation, like, you can always, like, during those conversations,
So we always say,
I think that you can gauge kind of where the other person's hot buttons are. And, I think that I wish politics were more like this these days, but like, whatever I'm pushing for, whatever he's pushing for, maybe someone's going to acquiesce a little bit more, but then the person that's kind of getting what they want is also going to take into account the things that are important for the other person, try to build some of that in there. So, it's never like, unfortunately, I don't think either of us have the power to overrule one another, unfortunately. But, we always get to a good spot. And quite frankly, like, for anyone, I mean, if you have conflict, talking it out in communication, like going through that process, even though it is sometimes very irritating in the moment, it definitely gets to a better outcome, right? Yeah. Instead of just somebody sulking and walking away, or just making a lesser decision just because you don't want to deal with the conflict, So.
Well, we appreciate you guys spending the time and coming on and talking to us.
Very
I'm
much
sure
so.
I can speak for Brandon too. We appreciate what you guys have done and your mentality behind everything. Yeah. It's honestly wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I thought, so since you guys are competitive too, I thought we're going to do another hour and Brandon's going to lead the conversation.
Okay.
Let's see who does better.
Well,
no?
I mean,
got another bottle?
I know.
We have another bottle. We have a whole warehouse. Those are just big bottles.
I didn't even say a drinking competition. I was like,
gentlemen, this is fun for us too. We appreciate it. It's humbling to be able to do these things, and we appreciate your support, and we'd be happy to help you guys however we can moving forward.
Same here.
Yeah.
Anything you need.
For real, we appreciate any business owners who are willing to take an hour a day. We know you got families. We know you got a lot of things going on. So we love doing this, and it's fun to learn from other people who are figuring it out. So.
Yep. Perfect. Evan and Pat, everybody.
Thank you, gentlemen. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you. Great job, Brandon.
Meet you.
yeah.
B-Dog. What's up, guys? It's Dan. Hope you liked that podcast. If you did, hit the like button. If you want to support us, hit subscribe. We want to hear from you. What industry are you looking to learn more about? We come out with a podcast every Thursday. See you next week.